I stopped at a gas station that wasn't on my GPS. No name, no other cars, just one old pump glowing in the dark. I filled up, grabbed a soda from the self-checkout, and got back on the road. But when I passed that same spot the next day, there was nothing there. No building, no pump, just flat dirt. And the weirdest part? The receipt I had in my glove box, the one that proved I'd been there. The ink was gone. I was moving from Salt Lake to Flagstaff after a breakup. One of those impulsive, wipe-the-slate-clean decisions. I had everything I owned packed into my car, and I thought I could do the whole drive in one night. By hour 7, I was out in the middle of southern Utah. No towns, no lights, and my phone had been in and out of signal for the last 100 miles. Just before dusk, the GPS froze. Completely. No map, no reroute, just a dot floating on gray. I checked the gas gauge and realized I'd burned through more than I thought. I hadn't seen an exit in forever. That's when I passed a tiny green sign. Next gas, 4 miles. Old lettering, paint flaking off. I turned off the highway at the next curve. The road dropped into a shallow canyon, more like a trail than a real road. After a couple miles, I came around a bend and saw it. A squat building with one gas pump and a blinking light above the door. No signs, no logos, no other cars. It felt abandoned, but the pump was lit. I pulled in and parked. Inside, there was no clerk, just a low hum from the cooler in the back. The shelves were dusty but stocked. A self-checkout kiosk still worked. I grabbed a soda, punched in the price, paid cash, and a little receipt printed out. I stuck it in my glove box and headed for the door. As I stepped outside, I saw someone walking behind the building, a man in a red work shirt. I called out. No answer. He kept walking, then turned the corner. I followed, but when I stepped around the side, no one was there. Just an empty gravel lot, not even a footprint in the dust. I got in the car and turned the key. Nothing, no crank, no dash lights. I popped the hood. Both battery cables were completely disconnected. I don't even know how that's possible. I hadn't opened the hood the entire trip. I reconnected them with shaking hands and tried again. This time the engine caught, slow, but running. I backed out fast, heart racing, and pulled off to the side to check my phone again. Still no signal. That's when I heard it, gravel crunching behind the car. I froze. My headlights were off. The engine was running. I hadn't seen anyone when I backed out. But the sound kept going. Slow, steady, like footsteps crossing the lot toward me. I turned on the headlights. Nothing. Just an empty clearing. No movement. No shadows. But when I looked in the mirror, I swear something had just been there. Inches from my rear bumper. I threw it into gear and sped out of there. The canyon road twisted and forked, and I took a left toward what I thought was a nearby town I'd seen on the map earlier. But 5 minutes later, the road just ended. Literally stopped. No signs, just dirt and rocks. I turned around, confused and sweating. I figured I must have taken the wrong fork. So I drove back toward the only landmark I recognized, the gas station. But when I reached the basin again, it wasn't there. Just a flat patch of earth. No building, no light, no pump, just dry ground and wind. I kept driving. 10 minutes. 20. My gas light came on, but the car didn't die. The needle hit E, then stayed there. I should have been stranded in the middle of nowhere. But the engine kept going. I made it to a real rest stop after midnight. I asked one of the attendants if there used to be a station off the 89 Canyon exit. He just shook his head and said, "That place was torn down 20 years ago. Burned up before that. You sure you saw a working pump?" I didn't know what to say. I still had the soda bottle in the car, the dust on my boots, the folded receipt in my glove box. I left it there for a few days, until I pulled it out to show someone, and the paper was blank. The print had disappeared, like it had never been there at all. I changed lanes to let the wrecked sedan pass, but it changed lanes too. I slowed to 50. It slowed. I exited the highway, looped through a side road, and got back on 10 minutes later. It was already behind me again. Same car, same crumpled hood, no headlights, no plate. And I couldn't see a driver. I'd been on the road since early that morning, driving from Elko to Fresno in one shot. Work trip, solo. I'd stopped for food around 7, filled the tank around 9, and figured I'd knock out the last leg before midnight. It was a long haul, but I'd done longer. Highway was mostly empty. No semis, no cops, just cold desert road and darkness. I first noticed the car somewhere south of Tonopah. I was passing a dead stretch of land, nothing but low shrubs and distant mountains, when I saw headlights swing into view behind me. Normal enough. But then they shut off. Not dimmed, not flicked, just off. That's when I saw the damage. The sedan's hood was bent, like it had hit something hard. Driver's side caved in. The grille was broken, no plate. It kept a perfect distance behind me. Not tailgating, just steady. I should have been able to see a driver. I leaned forward and looked hard through the rear view. I could see the cracked grille, the dented hood, but no face, no silhouette. The windshield looked too dark, not tinted, just wrong. Like it was reflecting something that wasn't there and bleeding faint red light from the dashboard, just enough to see the cracks, but not what was behind them. I tapped my brakes lightly, trying to get a reaction. Nothing, no honk, no swerve, just steady tailing. I changed lanes. So did it. I pulled into the right shoulder like I was going to stop, then cut back into the lane at the last second. Still behind me. Exactly the same distance. I tried to stay calm. Told myself it was coincidence. Maybe the driver couldn't see well with the busted front end. Maybe they were scared to pass. I gave it one last test. I took the next exit ramp toward a gas station and looped into a wide parking lot. The sedan didn't follow. I let out a breath. But when I pulled out 5 minutes later, took a different ramp, and merged back onto the highway. The car was there, behind me again. Same angle, same distance, still no headlights. I felt this weird adrenaline flush, like my body recognized something was wrong before my brain did. I stared at the mirror for maybe a full minute. Nothing changed. It didn't speed up or drop back, just existed, like it had always been there. I floored it for a few miles, got the car up to 90, then 95. The sedan didn't close the distance, but it didn't fall behind either. It just hung there, steady, matching every movement. I took another exit. This one led to a small town. Drove a few blocks, turned twice, looped around the backside of a gas station, sat there for 5 minutes. When I got back on the highway, it wasn't there. At least not immediately. I was halfway through a playlist when I caught it again. Not in the mirror this time. In a window. A reflection in the driver's side glass as I passed under a highway sign. Just a flash, but clear enough. The crumpled front end. The smashed passenger door. That faint red glow inside. Still no driver. I pulled into a rest area around midnight. 2 trucks parked under the lights, both with their cabs off. I parked between them for safety, left the engine running, waited. 5 minutes. 10. No sign of the sedan. I started to relax. Thought maybe I'd imagined the whole thing. Then I noticed something in the side mirror. Not a car, just light. Like headlights, but in the wrong shape. Low to the ground, flickering. I turned to look out the rear windshield, and there was nothing there. I got out and walked a slow circle around the car, nothing in the lot. No sound except the hum of the lights. I got back in, locked the doors, and started driving again. But something was different now. I didn't see the silver car behind me anymore, but every time I looked in the rearview mirror, the background was wrong. The horizon didn't match what I saw in front of me. The streetlights were spaced differently. At one point, I swore I saw a completely different sky, like the reflection in the mirror was coming from somewhere else. I stopped again around 1:30, this time at a motel just outside a town called Coaldale, a single-story place with 10 rooms, mostly empty. I parked near the end and walked to the office. Took maybe 60 seconds to check in. When I walked back out, the silver car was parked 2 spaces from mine. I froze, looked at the office window. The clerk wasn't even glancing outside. I turned slowly and approached it. My hand was shaking. The closer I got, the more wrong it looked. The body damage was worse now. Roof slightly caved in, one headlight dangling by wires. No license plate, no tags, all 4 windows black. I walked right up to the driver's side, put my hand on the handle, and the interior was empty. No seats, no steering wheel, just a hollow shell inside, like the frame of a car with nothing in it. Like it wasn't built to be driven, just to be seen. I backed away, heart hammering, and turned to walk quickly back to the room. I didn't sleep much that night. Curtains drawn, lights on. Every time I checked the window, the car was still there. Didn't move, didn't vanish. Just sat there like it was waiting for me to get back in. But the next morning, it was gone. No tire tracks, no oil stain. Just my car, alone in the lot. I made it home without seeing it again. But 2 nights later, I was parked outside my apartment and caught a glimpse of something in the rear view. I turned off the engine, looked again. Nothing. Just me. Just the dark street. But I couldn't shake the feeling I wasn't alone. The next day, I checked my camera roll. I had snapped a photo at the motel of the car, just in case. But when I pulled it up, it was blank. The image existed, but all it showed was my own reflection in the car window, staring back at myself. Nothing else. That's how it always is now. Every few nights, I see the car again. Not behind me, just reflected. In windows, in mirrors. Once, in the dark TV screen when I walked past it. Crumpled hood, empty seats, that faint red glow inside. I don't tell people anymore. I just keep driving, trying not to check the mirrors too often. But sometimes I slip up, sometimes I look, and when I do, it's always there, waiting for me to see it. I saw the same exit sign 3 times in a row, without ever turning around. Same broken guardrail, same flickering streetlight at the bottom. I thought I was losing my mind, but the 3rd time I took that off-ramp, my own car was already waiting at the bottom. It was around 9:15 p.m., middle of nowhere, Utah. I was driving home from a work retreat in Wyoming. Everyone else had flown out, but I'd decided to drive it alone, partly to save money, partly because I like solo road trips. My tank was getting low, but I figured I had enough range to make it to the next real town. That's when I saw the exit sign. Silver Creek, gas, food, lodging. White letters, green background, no logos, no distance marker. I hesitated, then took it. I remember thinking the ramp was longer than normal, curved a little too wide, dipped down into a valley. But I didn't think anything was wrong until I reached the bottom and realized there was no town. Just a 2-lane road running parallel to the freeway, lit by one dying streetlight. No gas station, no fast food signs, no lights in the distance. I figured maybe I had to follow the road a bit. So I turned right and kept driving. About 5 minutes later, I hit a stop sign. The road curved under a bridge, then sloped back up. And suddenly, I was back on the same freeway. Same direction, same shoulder. No other ramps in sight. And then I saw it again. The Silver Creek exit. At first, I thought I'd just messed up the turn. Maybe I'd looped back without realizing. I passed the exit and kept driving. But 10 minutes later, there it was again. Same angle, same broken sign. I hadn't made a single turn. I pulled over on the shoulder. My GPS showed me going straight. It hadn't even registered an off-ramp, just a line across the map with no detours. I zoomed in. No Silver Creek, no side roads, nothing at all. That's when I noticed something even weirder. The odometer reading hadn't changed in nearly 20 minutes. I turned off my phone and restarted it. The map reset, but the screen stayed blank for the whole surrounding area. Just a blue arrow floating on nothing. I tried calling my girlfriend. No signal, not even a bar. I took the exit again, just to test it. I figured maybe I'd missed a key turn the first time. Maybe there was a back road or a cutoff I hadn't seen. I drove slower this time, counted seconds, tracked turns. Same result. Road dipped, curved under, ramped back up, and dropped me right back onto the freeway. I passed one semi going the opposite direction, but it looked wrong. Too dark. No trailer lights, no engine sound. Just a black shape rolling by. I tried to wave, but it didn't slow down. This time I noticed something else. The clock on the dash wasn't moving. 9:17, then 9:17 again, then 9:17 a third time. I turned the car off completely, waited a full minute, started it back up. Still 9:17. I took the ramp a third time. My gas light came on halfway down, even though I still had a quarter tank a minute ago. My hands started shaking. I followed the exact same curve, same crumbling pavement, same rusted sign for Silver Creek Welcome Center, except now the sign had no lettering at all, just blank metal. I floored it, drove past the ramp point, onto a stretch of road I swore I hadn't seen before. It dipped down sharply into a gully, then looped past a field of dead sunflowers. I slowed just long enough to check my mirror, and that's when I saw it. There was a car behind me. My car. Same dent in the bumper, same sticker in the window, same hanging air freshener. I looked down at the wheel, touched the dashboard, checked the mirror again. Still there. It wasn't a reflection. It was real, and it was following me. I pushed the speed to 80, then 90. The road stayed straight for what felt like forever. Finally, I saw another freeway entrance ahead. No signs, just a ramp. I took it without thinking, flew up and merged back onto the highway. No other cars, no lights, just empty desert again. And then I saw the exit. Silver Creek, gas, food, lodging. But this time, the word gas was missing. I started laughing. Not like I thought it was funny, just that I couldn't believe it. I hadn't even turned around. I'd gone in a straight line. There was no way to circle back like that. I didn't take the ramp this time. I kept going. 10 minutes later, my tank hit E. I passed a call box. Thought about stopping, but it looked exactly like the one I'd passed before. Same bent post, same missing front panel. I gave in and took the next exit. It wasn't marked. No sign at all. Just a pale stretch of asphalt that veered off the main highway. I coasted down it with the engine light blinking and pulled into a dirt lot behind an old building that looked like a closed diner. I turned the car off, sat there in silence. No signal, no time change, just me and the ticking sound of the cooling engine. I got out, walked to the back door of the building, tried the handle, and from somewhere inside, I heard my phone ringtone, the one only my girlfriend uses. I didn't go in. I got back in the car and locked the doors, closed my eyes and waited. I must have drifted off eventually because when I woke up, the sun was rising, and I was parked in a gravel lot next to a real gas station with a few cars around and music playing from inside. I filled my tank, checked my phone, dozens of missed messages, all time-stamped around 9:17 p.m. I drove straight home and haven't left the city since. A few weeks later, I was cleaning out my glove box and found a folded-up paper I didn't recognize. A receipt. Silver Creek Auto Stop, 9:17 p.m. But I never got gas there. I never even saw a pump. But every once in a while I see that same green sign on the side of the highway.